I think in the spirit of continuing the discourse, I'll use my time to just try and answer some of the questions rather than say anything else. Can you let me know about a minute left, please? Causation of secularism, I agree, it isn't causation. The causation isn't that secularism caused that. The causation is that investment in health and education and communications technologies is the initial trigger. What's the basis of morality of whatever religion? I think it's to minimise the suffering of sentient beings and maximise the well-being of sentient beings. That's my preferred basis. Other people will have other bases. I agree that social consensus is not a good answer to that. The making of pornography and rape. Funnily enough, the statistics that have been done show that the more pornography that there is in a society, the less rape that there is. There's a lot of statistics that show that. And I'll put them up on YouTube and show them. And it seems counterintuitive, but that does seem to be the case. The Indian conquest, I don't know if you're suggesting that it didn't happen or that it wasn't as bad. Whatever the scale of it, it was something that did happen that is one of the bad effects of Islam. Whether America is secular or not in the context of the so-called war on terror, I think America is generally more secular when the Democrats are in power, more religious when the Republicans are in power, and generally when the Republicans are in power, that's when you get the wars against Muslims. George Bush specifically called it a crusade, which I'm sure is a term that has a lot of resonance to Muslims. The idea of secularism being a utopia, I agree, it isn't. I said it was a foundation on which a secular liberal democracy could be built that would then in turn help to build on protecting human rights without the distraction of theological dictates interfering in trying to base decisions on empathy and compassion for other sentient beings. The issue of France and the burqa ban, etc. It's a kind of a tricky issue that I am certainly not in support of banning women from wearing whatever they want to wear. At the same time, it is undoubtedly the case that some women are being forced to wear these garments against their will, and I don't know what the answer is. The ideal answer would be if you could find a way to criminalise those men who do force their wives to wear the garments. I don't know if that's practically possible to do, but I think you'd have to accept that those situations do exist. The church doesn't teach that it's wrong to be gay. That's astounding. I'll tell you a funny story about it though. When Cardinal Connell here some time back officially said that it was acceptable to discriminate against gay people in certain circumstances. And not just because of what they were doing, but because they were gay. And Senator David Norris, who for those of you who aren't aware was a gay campaigner and activist at the time, was asked for his response. And to put his response in the context, Archbishop Connell had done his doctoral thesis partly on angels, and David's response was, well, it just goes to show that Archbishop Connell may know a lot about angels, but he knows feck all about fairies. The idea of the Quran containing a whole lot of scientific things that weren't known at the time, I don't have time to go into now. I will make the time to put a YouTube video together on it at some stage, because anytime I've heard there's been things about mountains pegged into the earth and salt water and fresh water not mixing and embryology, and they are all refutable. I don't have time to do it now. The not oppressed by hijab, I've already raised that. I think some people are, some people aren't. If we can find a way of protecting the people that are, that a minute is it? Okay. 9/11 consistent with Islam. All I'll say about that is that the people who committed it certainly thought that it was. The idea that religion is why homophobia exists, of course it isn't. It never said that. The idea everything will, all problems suddenly go away. Of course they won't, never said that. Finally, I'll just leave it with the point that, you know, I'm talking about a secular state, I'm not talking about an atheist state. We have a secular state, you won't have to worry about atheists trying to convert you. I'll end with a little joke I like on that basis, which is what do you get if you cross a Jehovah's Witness with an atheist? And the answer is somebody who calls to your door for no reason at all. Thank you.